No, like it's just. I think we're live right now. Actually,
Anthony,
I'm
how do
pretty
you
sure
get your
like
head so big?
to go by, huh?
How does Anthony get his? Why does Anthony get such a big head? I want a big head.
It's the
Hold on, let me
resolution
connect to my
of his
computer.
camera.
Well, keep
Yeah.
your armpit out of this view, though, bro. You're live.
Hold on.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? We're we're
You're
live.
Yeah, with Anthony's armpit.
We're live on Facebook. What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? Today we are live with Anthony and Lewis, and we're going to be talking about why you should start a podcast and how you should pretty much stop making excuses and just record an episode at every opportunity you get, and then push it out. So yeah, Anthony, what were you, like? You were talking about how you regretted not making an episode. What, 2 days ago or what?
It was last week on Wednesday, and the reason I said that is because consistency is the key to podcasting. So people grow to expect your podcast on the same day, every week, every month, every quarter. I mean, biannually, annually, it doesn't matter. So if you say you're going to do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, you have to put out the content because people come to expect it. So what I was telling you earlier is, I was on a golf trip last week, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to be on this golf trip. It's not going to be too much business related stuff or motivational stuff or anything like that, but I'm going to be in front of 7 of my closest friends playing golf. And I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on Wednesday, but I didn't. And I'm punching myself in the face for it. The reason being is it could have been one of my best podcasts ever. I have 7 different personalities that were there with me. And yeah, we had a few beers on the golf course. So we were grilling out afterwards. I could have just walked around with my phone in my hand, recorded it, and asked people questions about whatever. And those personalities could have created awesome content. And now I look back and I'm like, why the hell didn't I do it? So that's number one, is consistency. Consistency is key. Very, very important. So today,
I agree with you there.
Uh-huh.
But it's not, for a lot of people, it's not going to be consistency. It's just doing the first one.
That too.
And then consistency. But like a lot of people are like, oh, we want to do podcasts. When I was at a seminar a couple weeks ago.
Podcasts are assets. They're like video. So the thing is, the way I look at it as a marketing person, like pictures and like they don't really work that well for attention. Like they can kind of serve as assets, but videos and podcasts are like the two things that, like, if you put them out there, most likely somebody's going to find it at some point and they're going to consume it. And that's like
absolutely
tried and true.
Yep.
No, absolutely. Podcasting has become so huge over the last 5 years. It's crazy. And it's right. And you're right, Lewis. The first podcast that I did, I was scared as hell. I was like, man, what do I do? I had my notes written, and I said, I'm just going to go out there and record it, because the more you think about it, the less you're going to get it done. So it's just a matter of, hey, do it. And you know what?
Was your first one perfect?
No, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was good enough to get out there. And that's all you need to be, is good enough. You know what I mean? Because if you're going to wait for perfection, you're never going to get it done. So it was good enough to publish. I published it and I got tons of great feedback on it. Now, that was podcast 001. I'm sure that at podcast 100, it's going to be a lot different. And I'm going to be on my game, and I know exactly what I'm going to be saying, and it's going to roll off my tongue a lot easier. But you know what? Anything that you start, your first time is going to be harder than what it is when you do it 100 times. I mean, it's just the way it is. So just get out there and do it. I mean, and in today's world, the platforms that we have, you can do it for free. Back in the day, you used to have to pay for the RSS feed and pay a monthly subscription for it, so on and so forth. There's companies out there and platforms such as Anchor that have made it completely free. And my podcast is on Apple Podcasts. Yeah. It's on Spotify. It's on everything.
What's Anchor?
Awesome.
What's Anchor? What can you tell us what Anchor?
Interrupt for a second to clarify. We always got to give some context to the whole conversation. That's what today's quick podcast is going to be about. Is Anthony started a podcast, so he's just going to go through a list of the things he did to get ready. Probably we'll talk about the equipment. We'll talk about what he listed to prepare himself about what he was going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about, he's going to tell us how he actually published the podcast and anything else in between. There's probably some editing, everything he did. We just want to list start to finish of what you did to do that podcast, so that anybody who wants can watch this podcast and go out and start their own. So
absolutely. So first of all was the idea. You have to have an idea. You have to have something that you think people are going to want to listen to. So there's 100 business podcasts. You and I and probably Riley follow the same one. And you know which one I'm talking about. It's one of the most popular business podcasts out there. The guy's tremendous. He's kicking ass, you know? But how am I going to match that? Or how am I even going to get a percentage of that? So my thought process was, let me find something that's almost, and I like to consider it a 2-part thing, right? So the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about something that I've learned in business, motivation, working out, something that everybody can use that's going to better them somehow. Then the second part of the podcast is about my life, is about what I'm doing, what I'm doing to have fun, what I'm doing, what I've done last week, last year, something that I want to share to bring value to people so they know, hey, if he went on this trip and talked about it, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But here's the best thing is the first part of the podcast is something that's going to bring value to people. So if they don't really care about my life, fine. They can turn off after 5 minutes, but at least the first 5 minutes, I'm bringing them some sort of value, right? So we all have to bring value. That's a value proposition. So we bring the value.
What is the podcast about? Figure that out. What's your theme? What's your idea?
You got it. So if my theme was something to bring value to people for the first 5-10 minutes. And then the second 5 to 10 minutes, I don't want to make it longer than 15 to 20 minutes. The second part is my life experiences. Hey, I went to this concert. I thought the band was awesome. Hey, I went to this concert. I thought the band was shit. Either way, I'm still putting it out there. People are getting value from it. They're going to say, hey, this guy's coming to concert. You know what? Anthony said they were kind of crappy. Let me go check something else out. Or Anthony said they were badass. Let's go check it out. Or I camp a lot, so I'll do reviews on campgrounds sometimes. You know, that's something I want to start doing more of. So if you don't care about my life, cool. But at least I'm bringing you the first 5-10 minutes of something with value.
And your life is yours and unique, so it's certainly going to be a one-of-a-kind podcast because you're the only one living it. So what is our podcast?
Correct.
Riley?
So what I did, so as far as my lifestyle, I picked the 5 things that interest me the most to talk about, and in a random order for the second 5 to 10 minutes, you know, and that's what I do. So it's called Ant Bites because everyone knows me as Ant. So all my best friends call me Ant. My name's Anthony, but for some reason I got stuck with Ant, and I'm okay with it. Why? Because I actually come up with an awesome podcast name. My podcast name is Ant Bites with a Y, as in a digital unit of information. And that's how I start my podcast. So Ant Bites, and it's catchy. You know, I had this cool little design made, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it makes perfect sense, you know, so it's Ant Bites, you know, like these are my bites per se. And it's been getting some good traction. I'm on episode, and I just started this year. So I'm on episode 004 that I'm recording today. And what I do is I record it on Tuesdays and get it ready for Wednesday, and I publish every Wednesday.
So let's keep moving here. What's the equipment that you purchased or that you need to do this? How do you record and how do you edit? And then what's the physical equipment you have?
You can do it 2 ways. So there's the platform that I'm going to talk about here in a second. You can talk right into it from your phone, and that's it. You don't need anything. Your phone, your computer. If your computer has a mic, that's all you need. However, I've been around music, as you can see these pieces of foam back here. I've been around music for a long time, and I've had a small production studio around for a long time. So I had most of the equipment. Now, what you absolutely need, if you want to start, is something similar to Riley's microphone that he has right there. It's a dynamic microphone, or just any type of microphone that you can have a way to plug it into your computer. Now, the way to do that would be through some type of interface that has phantom power to bring enough power to amplify your voice in order to record into the computer. So that's exactly what Riley's showing you. You need those 2 things if you want more of a professional sounding recording. But guys, talking into your phone sounds pretty professional nowadays. So you don't have to necessarily go out and buy a bunch of equipment. The microphone that I bought on eBay, I think, or on Amazon, I think was $28. And then the phantom power that you need to buy, I think, is an additional $28 to $30. I already had the phantom power because I have my home studio, but those dynamic microphones are great because they don't have to be right up. You don't have to talk right into them. They just kind of have to be nearby. You talk and it picks up everything, and it keeps it at the same level. So it really sounds very professional.
Okay, Riley, can you add and kind of talk about what you bought to get your podcast going?
Yeah, so
you started from nothing.
I mean, you can get started for under $100, or I mean, let's break it down even simpler than that. If you have an iPhone, if you have an Android phone, you can record the audio, but you can also download apps to soften it and edit it and then upload it through Anchor. Anchor will allow you to upload audio files through your phone as well to build episodes. So for me, what I have, I just literally, I bought like the first mic I found on Amazon. I didn't know anything about it. I just searched like studio recording microphone, and this is the one that popped up. It was like $25. I don't even think it was $19.99, and I had to buy. So the thing is when you're doing this stuff, all of it's like sold separately, right? So I had to end up buying this XLR wire, which was like $10. And then this little arm right here that holds my microphone up, I believe was like $15. And the mixer I bought from Guitar Center for, I think, under $30. So it's all in all about under $100 you can get started for.
And how is that all hooked up? Is the microphone go through the wire to the mixer and the mixer goes to your computer?
Yeah, so it hits the mixer first, and that's where you make sure that your audio is clean and stuff like that. So you have a real, like mine's a cheap mixer, so I have like real basic controls. I have gain control and then high and low volume control, and that's pretty much it. But the cool thing about the mixers is they have a couple different channels, so you have more options than just an XLR wire. Like you can buy like one of those recording microphone, the wireless microphones, and then just plug in the bass to the mixer and do it that way as well. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. There's like, you don't have to model somebody's mic setup. Like you can make one work for you.
Okay, awesome. Anything you want to add to that, his setup? And
and he said he spent under $100. Exactly. There's a company on Amazon called Newer, which is my microphone. Give me 1 second, guys. Newer. It's called Newer. And Newer makes a great microphone, and they have the Phantom box, and you can buy both, and that's all you need. The Phantom box and the Newer mic. It's dynamic as well. Box? It's like $40, $45.
I know what the mixer is, but what's a Phantom box? Is that the
Phantom
same?
Is just it's a power source. Power. So these mics don't have their own power. Some mics have their own power. They run their own power source.
Some mics don't need power. Using a mic and an amplifier.
Right. Pretty much. Using a microphone amplifier. That's what Phantom power.
Okay.
Some of them have an amplifier built in.
So I didn't need to buy it. So.
Okay. Great. So now you've got the equipment. What was the next?
You got the equipment. You've got the idea. Now it's a matter of finding where to publish it. So it took me, I just started researching and I found out that.
Let's stop there. Did you like write a script about what you were going to talk about for the first day, or?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I do is I take notes weekly. So anything that pops into my head, I have a note section on my phone that's called podcast notes. And I put the number of the next podcast. So the next one is 005. And then as something comes up during the week that I want to talk about, I just make a little note on there and just keep it rough. And then what I do is on Tuesdays in the morning is I come up with all my podcast notes and I put them in chronological order the way I want to discuss it on my podcast. So I have it ready. And then I make notes next to it. Now I don't write out a full script. I have the gift of gab, I guess. So I guess I can pretty much roll it off the tongue. And you know what? If you don't, it's fine. We're human. You know what I mean? You don't want it to be 100% perfect. You know what I mean? You want to show that, you might have got tied up, or cat got your tongue a little bit, like just happened to me right there. You know what I mean? It's normal. That's just how you want to be. You want to be yourself. You don't want to try to make it too perfect because no one's perfect. So
I think people have a problem trying to present themselves in a certain way when they're trying. So a lot of people are making a podcast for a specific reason. They're not making it because they want to create content, right? And a lot of times, in order to get that specific outcome, some people feel they need to present themselves in a certain way. And one of the ways to present yourself that way is through a podcast. So I think you want to, like, that right there is a dark hole that you can fall into making any type of content, or like, I think, that's a just truth in life. Like, don't try and present yourself, and it just be
authenticity is the word you're looking for.
Correct.
You got to be authentic. So let me just add a little bit to that. Like what Riley does and what I do is we're just trying to do podcasts that have helpful content. So we're just coming up with a problem that we know our clients in the future might have, or that Riley knows how to do a ton of technical online stuff. So he literally just hops on these podcasts or video casts and teaches what he knows how to do. No fear about what it is, or that he's going to teach himself out of a job. He's just making the world aware that he has pertinent knowledge.
Well, a lot of the times, the main reason I'm doing it is to reinforce what I just learned. You know what I mean? I'm like, these things. So this is the thing. Like, part of my process is documenting what I just learned, so I don't forget about it. Like, I need to literally speak myself through it in order for me to fully understand
That's
it.
awesome, dude.
Yeah,
And
it just so happens that it also
somebody
serves as an asset.
Yeah, somebody said online that was like, it pissed me off. It was like, oh, those who can't do it teach it, and it's like, no. You are the people that never get past thinking that you're so great at it that you never teach it. It's the people who get great at something and want to get really, really great at it start to teach it, because they don't have any fear that they're going to give away all their secrets and all of a sudden they're not going to be valuable to the world anymore.
So one thing I learned when I was in the Army, because I've sat on both sides of the fence, is like, if you think you understand something, try to teach it. Like,
yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, you'll realize how ignorant on the topic you actually are. You know, when people start asking you questions, it's
awesome.
It's very hard to teach. It's very hard, you know. But it just so happens that, like, our teachers in our society are put, you know, they get paid like minimum wage, so people think of that as a low position. It's I mean, the people that teach, like, there's real wisdom in that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
that's awesome. So that's another idea for podcasts. You want to figure out what to do a podcast, teach people what you already know how to do. If you're great at something, teach other people about it, and boom, you're gonna have a whole audience right there. So we went through.
That's a way to guarantee that you'll never struggle in life. It's just if you know something and just teach people how to do it, that you'll be taken care of for the rest of your life.
Well, that's Dean Graziosi and Tony and Russell Brunson. Their whole new KKB program is about just teach what you already know, and they're showing everybody in theory how to make money teaching what you already know, instead of trying to figure out what to teach or how to make money. So let's move on. We've got down our theme and our ideas. You guys showed us what we're going to use for equipment, and now we showed more ideas about how to talk about what you're going to do. So now it's like, now I'm sitting here at my computer, all of this stuff's plugged in. I got to record a podcast. So how do I do that, Anthony?
Here's the tricky part is, you know, first of all, I had to search how to record a podcast, and I found out that you have to have an RSS feed, right? Little did I know what an RSS feed. I started learning about RSS feeds, and then I found out really quickly that most RSS feed hosts charge to host your RSS feed. And the RSS feed, what it does is it sends your information to all the different podcasts that you choose.
Hold on. So you
choose.
You send it. Don't you record it onto like a digital file first?
Correct, but I had to figure out what I had to do. I didn't know where to record first. I just was, okay, I have an idea. I have my first topic down. How the hell do I get it to the masses? I didn't know, so I just researched how do you do it, right?
Okay.
And so that's when I found out.
Is an RSS one of these services? Then you just record right to a web-based app?
Correct. So, but most of them, actually all of them, but one, charge you to host the RSS feed. And I found out that there's a lot of corrupt companies that say they're actually feeding your content to where it needs to be, and they're actually not doing it. So now I'm skeptical. Now I'm like, what the hell do I do? I did all the side work. I bought my microphone. I'm ready to go. And now I'm finding out that I have to pay on a monthly basis. And some of these companies aren't even getting the content out where they need to get it to, until I found Anchor.
Okay.
Anchor is the game changer. All right.
Anchor. How do you find Anchor? What's the URL?
Anchor. It's I think it's anchor.com, but let me double check for you guys real quick. So Anchor was a game changer because
is it ANKER?
Anchor is ANCHOR.FM.
Cool.
And then once you get to Anchor, is a game changer. And the reason it's a game changer is because, number one, they don't charge at all to get your podcast or your content out.
What else? There's another one that's even bigger than that.
Then Anchor?
Yeah. No. What there's two reasons Anchor is a huge game changer. They don't charge, but what's the other one?
I'm not sure. Tell me, Riley.
You can monetize your content.
Yeah, exactly. That was what I was getting to. So you can monetize your content, and then they'll keep a small percentage once it starts monetizing, and that's how they make their money. I was like, well, shit, I don't care. Because if I'm making money and you're making money and you're not charging me on a monthly basis, then that's a win-win for everybody. And that's totally fine with me. So I signed up with Anchor. Anchor makes it totally easy to do everything. They have a very minimal editing software. You can talk right into Anchor. However, I, coming from the studio background, I have, what we call a DAW, which is digital audio workstation, that I've had for 20 plus years. And I said, you know what, I'm going to record my own. Just because I had that background. So I wanted to add a little bit of effects and this and that and so on and so forth. But to be honest with you, I ended up using GarageBand because it was just a lot easier and it has everything you need.
And so that was my next question, because I was a little confused. I was like, okay, are you doing this podcast live into Anchor and then you press a button and it goes out there? Or are you recording it and then editing your audio file and then publishing it to Anchor?
That's it, exactly. So on Anchor, what you do is you set up your profile, you upload your artwork, you give a description, you tell them what kind of podcast it is, so they can start the process of getting it out to where it needs to go. Your RSS feed, again, it's all based on RSS feed. So I set up my profile with Anchor, got some artwork done by a digital artist that I know. She sent it over. I thought it looked great, so we went ahead and rolled with it. I got the artwork up, the description, what type of podcast it is, and then they said they'll get back to me in a couple of days once it's approved. And in the meantime, I said, I'm going to go record it. So I actually ended up using GarageBand because it was a simple process, while Anchor approved all my credibility and all the stuff that I had put on their website.
So what is GarageBand?
GarageBand is a free digital audio workstation or DAW that comes with Apple. Any Apple computer has GarageBand on it. So it's you'll probably have it. Most people have it on their phones now. So it's a pretty basic audio workstation for somebody that wants to get into maybe writing music or recording podcasts or things like that. It's something that's pretty easy to use. And it worked perfectly for what I needed it to do. So
leveling out and cutting and editing your
you got it.
So you can edit out the ums if you want, or delete a whole area or part of the story that's just boring and rambling on. And
you can, but I don't recommend it because, again, you want to be yourself. I got a lot of ums and I got some rambling and I catch myself. And then I say, you know what, I'm just sitting here rambling and I apologize, but you know what, let's move forward. And that's just the way it is. That's just, you want to be you, and that's the most important thing. So once I have my ideas, I got everything down, Anchor's working on approving everything. Then it's time to upload the first podcast. So after I recorded it on GarageBand, I actually went to a website to find free music. There's several websites out there. Just look up free audio clips on Google. You'll get 4 or 5 websites that they'll give you a 10-second audio clip. Find the one that most fits your personality and just use it. It's royalty free, so you can use it for whatever you want. Because you want to have some kind of intro music and outro music just to give it a little bit of pizzazz or bang, you know what I mean, to get people interested in it. You don't want to just pop on there and be like, hey guys, how you doing? And without any intro music or outro music, it just adds a lot of character to the podcast.
Yeah, so all you got to do to figure that out is listen to other good podcasts that you like, and you're going to hear how they do their audio.
Everyone has an intro song or an outro song or something. So mine's just a 10-second audio clip that I found online for free. Again, just Google free audio clips. There's a lot of websites out there that offer them. I probably went through 3 different websites to find the one that most fit my personality. So I took that, added it on, layered it in GarageBand, which is an easy drag and drop. And I just scooted my audio file that I recorded with my voice for the podcast over, so it would kind of bleed into it and bleed out of it, which is, with a little bit of practice, anybody can do it. It's very easy. And my podcast is ready to go, right?
So that sounds awesome. Riley, did you want to add anything to what do you use to do editing? Do you edit your songs?
Yeah, I use Adobe Audition mostly because I'm just not a Mac user.
Okay.
But yeah, so when you have PC, you kind of have to just fend for yourself.
Well, and
Yeah,
there's a
so
bunch out there. Like, so I use Camtasia for my video editing, which also has a bunch of audio editing. So like I can edit this whole video cast, and then I can just cut out the audio, and my audio is all ready to go. So
right.
there's a bunch of different ways to do it.
There's a ton of software out there. Just find one that fits your budget and fits. They're all basically the same. Some of them have a lot of more bells and whistles, but the actual vehicle is the same.
Yeah.
One of them's going to be the Ferrari of it. One of them's going to be the Honda Civic of it, but it's still going to get you from point A to point B. So don't worry about that too much. Just find whatever fits your budget.
Well, and that's the big thing about any one of these kind of new undertakings is it's like you get it going and you use what you have, your current resources to get it going. Doesn't mean that you can't buy more resources later on when you have more money. People get stuck on that. They're not doing it and they don't have it this way. It's like, well, that's how business owners make money, is they start with what they have and then they build on top of that later on.
But don't complicate it. Like don't use I have to edit the audio, so I'm not going to release an episode. That's not an excuse. So, I mean, all you really need to do is download Anchor and you can publish a podcast. You just record into your phone, like
right
start
into Anchor.
That. Most people, I know a lot of people, like they don't want people to see like they get nervous. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's going to be live. Like you have to just start pushing it out to get past that, and a good way to do it is literally just to record a podcast into your phone. Like, it doesn't matter if people listen to it.
I couldn't agree more, Riley. And you know what? I was scared shitless on the first one. I really was. I was like, you know what? It's my first time doing it, and you will be too. But you know what? Don't create mental blocks as to why you're not going to do it. Get past your mental blocks and just get it out. And I got so much positive feedback off my first one that I was like, holy shit, it worked. You know what I mean? But you know why? Because I didn't let myself not do it. I made sure that no matter what, I was going to get that content out regardless, And, it might have taken me a little bit longer than I needed to because I needed to get my mic and I wanted to do it that way. But you don't have to. Just get it out there, record it into Anchor and put it out there. People will listen to it no matter what. You'll see. And then you can share it on your social media and your friends are going to listen to it. And most of those guys are always going to give you positive feedback. But then slowly but surely it starts getting out to other people and you start getting feedback from them and it starts to become real. And it's awesome. It's really a great feeling. So once it's on Anchor, you upload it to Anchor and you hit submit your first one. It's going to take a little bit. It's not going to be immediate because they want to approve it. Once they approve it, they send it out. Once you have your actual first podcast, they send it out to all the major podcast platforms for you. So Spotify, Apple Music are the two biggest, but there's also podcast apps out there that most people aren't as familiar with, but it sends it out to all of them. And the coolest thing is every couple of days you get an email from Anchor and it says, hey, your podcast has been approved on such platform. And I tell you what, guys, as soon as I saw it on Spotify, I literally was like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm on freaking Spotify right now. And then 2 days later, you're on Apple freaking podcast. And I was like, what the hell? I couldn't believe it. So I went and searched my own podcast on Apple and I was like, holy shit, there it is. They weren't kidding. And it's awesome, And then now you can start to build an audience. You can start to, ask for people to review it. So you can start getting that traction and getting that social proof that you need in order to make anything greater. But most of all, just share it with your friends, share it with your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, your whatever, Snapchat, all these social platforms that we have nowadays, and just get the stuff out there and get people listening to it. And don't be afraid to be yourself. And, and maybe like it just happened to me. I got a loss for words. Don't be afraid to just be you, and get it out there. Don't worry about over editing and re-recording. And I tell you what, all my podcasts that are out right now, and there's only been a few, I've never done a second take. I just record it, put it out there, and it is what it is. What it is what it is. Period.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no point in going back and saying, oh, I stuttered there a little bit. Let me go back and redo it. You're going to be there for a month before you put one out if that's your train of thought going into this thing. You got to go into this thing about two things. Record it, get it out. period. That's it.
That's awesome. Anything you want to add to this whole thing, Riley?
No, I think this is all spot on. I think if I add anything, it'll just confuse people.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so tell everybody where we're going to go through and give everybody a little, hey, who are you, and where can everybody hear your stuff and see your stuff, and where are you found? Where do we find you, Riley?
So I host a podcast called the Marketing 101 Podcast, and I'm in the process of publishing the episodes. Right now we have 3 up, and I'm on all the platforms. Just search Marketing 101, and I'll pop up. You'll see a picture of me. Or you can find me, Riley David on YouTube, Riley David on Facebook, rds.marketing if you're looking to hire me for some type of consulting work. But I'm actually probably most likely going to be backing off on a lot of this outreach stuff. So I'll still be publishing the content and trying to be helpful, but I just signed on to a pretty big deal. So now if you want my time, it's extra valuable. But yeah, that's it. What about you, Anthony?
You can find my podcast. It's called Ant Bites. Like I said earlier, that's Y Bites, spelled with the Y. Like I said, like a digital unit of information. And I'm on all the platforms right now. YouTube channel is Anthony Hernandez. You can look it up there. Building out some of that content now. I know how important it is to actually build out a YouTube channel. So something I wasn't doing as much, but now I've focused on it a little bit more. And then my store that I have, my e-commerce store is thatlifeshop.com. And we specialize in eco-friendly and reusable products. So we're doing our best to try to help reduce trash that we produce, because I know it's a big topic on everyone's mind. So go check that stuff out. Show me some love and let me know if there's anything that we can do for you. If there's anything that you'd like to see us come to market with, we'd be more than happy to take on those suggestions and see what it is that we can do for you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show, Anthony. And my name is Louis May. I run Hammer Sport Racing, Hammer Sport Marketing, and I'm on all the channels under Hammer Sport or Louis May. So.
All right. Yo, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks, Anthony, for coming on. I think this was
it
just
was nice to meet you, Riley. Take care, guys.
All right. I'm going to stop. Thank you guys for watching. And like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Thank you.